Few people are aware of the fact that Cletus McFarlane is not even his true name, despite the fact that he is one of the most well-known individuals in the drag and drive scene. Everything began with a joke that he made in a video that he shared with his pals. What is the origin of the name Cletus, and how did it come to be one of the most well-known names in the automobile industry? Come along with us as we take a step back in time and talk about things you didn't know about Cletus McFarlane. Located in the outskirts of Omaha, Nebraska, on April 5, 1995, Garrett Mitchell, who is better known by his professional name, Cletus McFarland, was born to Lorian Edward Mitchell from the Mitchell family. Early on, he developed a passion for automobiles, which he attributes to his father, Edward, who had a mobile detailing business as well as a taxi cab service. On weekends, young Cletus would accompany his father in moving Crown Vicks around the parking lot. The family had a fleet of Crown Vittorius vehicles, and Cletus would frequently tag along with his father. Cletus had the best playground possible when he was growing up on a property that was 6 acres in size and was situated between farmland and the neighborhood. His time was spent tearing about on four-wheelers, dirt bikes, and everything else he could get his hands on. He spent hours racing around. According to his account, Nebraska was a wild region where everything appeared to be conceivable in any circumstance. The freedom that he possessed was without limit. Whatever he wanted to do, whether it was riding his snowball bill or driving a tractor to school, they did not prevent him from doing it. Cletus was already driving himself to school in his 2001 Chevrolet Trailblazer LTZ by the time he was 14 years old, when the majority of teenagers were little more than daydreaming about acquiring their driver's license. He even parked his vehicle in the staff lot. He never got in Cletus's way, despite the fact that his father was not as enthusiastic about speed as Cletus was. The high-octane, adrenaline-fueled content that is now shared with millions of people under the name Cletus McFarlane was built on the basis that was formed by all of that early wheel time. But how did it get started? If you have ever viewed a video from 1320, you can thank Cletus McFarlane for some of the content that was featured in those videos. The engagement of Cletus with 1320 films, on the other hand, dates back to a time long before he became the online superstar that we are all familiar with today. Now let's go back in time to 2011. While Cletus was waiting at a stoplight in his Subaru, he came across another individual who was driving a Mazda Speed 3 and was a speed maniac. As soon as the light turned green, they sped off to the next stoplight as quickly as they could. After participating in this little street race, Cletus was invited to attend a car meet, where he would have the opportunity to meet Kyle Loftus, the proprietor of 1320 videos. It was because Cletus had such a good time at this initial meet that he decided to come back the following week. It was around this time that he began to develop a friendship with the 1320 video crew, which ultimately led to him being asked to his very first street race. During the street race, Cletus witnessed a Mustang competing against a group of street bikes directly in front of him. Instantaneously, he reached for his phone and began recording the sequence of events. After that, he gave the tape to Kyle Loftus, who ultimately made the decision to incorporate it into one of the videos that 1320 videos had produced. A few months later, as Cletus was hanging out with his friends, he became aware of Instagram. The potential of the platform was brought to Kyle's attention, and he suggested that 1320 videos should be uploaded to it. Kyle established an Instagram account, provided Cletus with a password, and granted him the authority to manage the account in any manner he felt appropriate. Through this action, Cletus was elevated to the position of official social media manager for 1320 video, and it also marked the beginning of his career as a content creator in the automotive industry. And all of this occurred prior to the completion of high school. Moving forward in time to 2013, Cletus was performing exceptionally well in his capacity as the social media manager for 1320. He was the first person to visit Texas 2K, and the 1320 video crew members that covered the event wore shirts bearing their company's logo. It was sad for Cletus that he had to go to Florida in order to attend the University of Tampa for his legal education. He graduated from high school in the same year. Cletus was up in an environment that was filled with attorneys, which is the reason he decided to pursue a career in the legal field. Additionally, he has two relatives who are also in the legal profession, in addition to his father, who is also an attorney, and his sister, who is also an attorney. In spite of the fact that Cletus's actual ambition was to become a renowned talk show host like Jay Leno, he was still compelled to pursue a career in law. Even though he was attending college, Cletus continued to work as the social media manager for 1320 video through his studies. In spite of the fact that he had a restricted amount of time, he was still attending events and posting articles on the website. He was also receiving payment for his efforts. His life, however, was irrevocably altered by the subsequent significant event that he would attend with the 1320 crew. 1320 in 2015, video began covering a greater number of racing events, and in that same year, they were present at Rocky Mountain Race Week for a drag and drive competition. On day 4, the crew was scheduled to spend the evening at the hotel that was hosting the event. Cletus was wearing a Chevrolet shirt that he had just purchased from Walmart only 5 minutes before, and the crew made the decision to film a humorous video that they could send to their friends. Cletus, who was wearing the new clothing, requested that Kyle refer to him as Dale McFarlane. However, Kyle spoke to him as Cletus instead of Dale. Here is the progression of the video. What is your year of birth? 1969. We are here with Cletus McFarlane. I would like to make it obvious that it is a big block Chevrolet engine, that I am a huge fan of Chevrolet, and that I was born and raised in the United States. This film was planned to be a skit that everyone in the group of friends would see together, but Kyle believed it was so amusing that it deserved to be seen by a larger audience. As a result, he submitted it on the YouTube channel of 1320 video, as well as its Facebook page. Literally, Cletus McFarlane was born in the middle of the night. Over 1 million people had watched the film in a span of less than 12 hours, with 30,000 of those views coming from YouTube. Cletus was playing the online persona he created with Kyle's assistance in amusing videos for 1320 video while still working as a crew social media manager and studying law at the University of Tampa. About a month after that, 1320 video made the Cletus shirt as merchandise. Furthermore, Cletus was playing the character in videos for 1320 video. Cletus in some way managed to juggle everything, but then he made the decision to break out on his own and create his own YouTube channel, and things took a different turn from there. One of Cletus's lifelong goals has been to become a talk show host. After his online persona began to acquire traction on the internet, he recognized an opportunity and seized it with both hands. Approximately a few months after his video went popular, he founded his own YouTube channel with the assistance of his friend Kyle. This was right around the time that he began his legal education. Cletus was still trying to figure out his future after graduating from college earlier than expected. YouTube and law school were difficult to juggle at the same time. He had a natural talent for tests, but he considered education to be tedious and had a hard time maintaining his interest. He had been balancing law school and the channel for a year and a half when he finally reached his breaking point. He had to pull an all-nighter driving back from an event in order to attend a tax law class. When compared to the things that he could have been doing, such as filming material with Leroy, his cherished Corvette. The entire class seemed like a waste of time to him. This was the moment when Cletus made the decision that he would never return to law school. He made another attempt to complete his semester, but in the end he had to break the news to his family. All of his family members, including his parents and grandparents, were not overjoyed, particularly because his grandfather had also left law school, a choice that he continues to find regrettable. Cletus, on the other hand, chose to forego his legal education. His current level of success on YouTube, which includes nearly 4 million subscribers and more than 1.5 billion views, demonstrates that following one's passion can sometimes be more successful than following the conventional path. Since Cletus was no longer attending law school, he was able to devote his attention to developing his online identity, producing further videos, attending a greater number of events, and enhancing the performance of his stick-shift C5 Corvette, which he calls Leroy. Cletus McFarland is no longer a fictitious moniker, rather. It is a whole brand that consistently releases content that is fantastic in terms of automobiles. With a greater amount of content, the Cletus McFarlane channel distributes the same kind of stuff that is distributed by every other auto show. He takes other automobiles and transforms them into works of art that can be raced or pushed to their maximum limits. He also offers films on radio-controlled airplanes, which are more accurately planes and helicopters. What he does is nothing but fun. When his racetrack became flooded during Hurricane Derby, he made the decision to have some fun by launching a jet boat on the flooded portion of the track with his 1,000-horsepower Dodge Ram TRX. He did this in order to have a good time. The Freedom Factory is the name of this track, and Cletus purchased it in January of the year 2020. It was formerly known as the DeSoto Speedway in the past. The track is a figure-8 track and asphalt oval that measures 3 miles in length and is located in Manatee County, Florida. Beyond the realm of producing material or presenting pay-per-view events, Cletus has expanded his passion for automobiles to include other areas of his life. It was announced in April 2022 that Cletus will be making his debut in the Stadium Super Trucks at Long Beach, California. This event took place in the year 2000. In spite of the fact that it was his first time competing in a professional context, he drove the truck with the number 1776 and did fairly well. During the penultimate lap, he was truly in the lead, and he was on the verge of winning his first race. On the other hand, and sadly, his truck flipped over upon landing after he had completed the final jump. Have you given up, Cletus? However, he did compete in other races and unfortunately was involved in a few accidents during those events. Later on, however, he finished third in the Bristol 1000 race that was held at the Bristol Motor Speedway, which was the first time in his racing career that he had achieved a podium result. As is the case with the majority of online superstars, Cletus has been successful in concealing the majority of his personal life. The entirety of what he presents to his audience is designed to be entertaining and to provide a fascinating viewing experience. On the other hand, he does have a reasonably satisfying private life. He is married to Maddie Mitchell, and the couple has a daughter named Ella and a boy named Ripper through their union. His wealth is reported to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $5 million. When he joined a group of private helicopter owners who led the grassroots operation under Operation Airdrop to fly supplies by helicopter into areas that had no road access after the aftermath of Hurricane Helene, he put some of that money to good use. Although the majority of that money is invested back into content for his channel and his Cletus McFarlane persona, he did put some of it to good use.